morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today I need to tell you that these illustration rares in Black Bolt and White Flare, they're getting a little silly, ladies and gentlemen. They're getting a little bit silly. They're going nuts. Phrase it how you will. But this is something we need to acknowledge and we need to talk about. Because one thing we need to remember about Black Bolt and White Flare is that every Pokemon in the set, in the double set in Black Bolt and in White Flare, every single Pokemon is getting either an illustration rare or, if they're in the X, a special illustration rare. So there's loads of them. And when I say loads of them, I do mean there's loads of them. If we start off having a look at Black Bolt, because that's got the one that's going the silliest right now, there are 69. There's actually one fewer than in White Flare. White Flare's got 70. That's because the Victini illustration collection took out the Victini, and there was no White Flare equivalent. So whereas in a couple of other places, one has been removed from each set, the Victini illustration collection only took from Black Bolt, so that's why Black Bolt's got 69 and White Flare's got 70. But if we start off with the really silly one here, I told you this the other day, Seismitoad. Seismitoad is ridiculous. It's the Shinji Kanda effect. We talked about this. It is about a $220 card. Absolutely absurd. Actually, somehow gone up since release. Absolutely ridiculous. Seismitoad is going just a little bit silly. It's up at $220. That's, I mean, it's not quite as much as the Magikarp, but it's not far away from the Magikarp. And the Magikarp is from an older set, who's been out for ages and has this real mystique built around it. It's become one of the kind of legendary cards from the Scarlet and Violet era, and this one came out a couple of weeks ago. I don't think it should be up there with a Magikarp, but no one cares what I think. It absolutely is. Now, sticking in Black Bolt, I will say, although Seismitoad is silly, and Seismitoad is silly, at least there's nothing else which is on that level. There's nothing else which is quite there. Like the number 2 in Black Bolt right now, actually probably would be Victini if it wasn't cut from the set, but it is. It's Haxorus sitting there at $40, and Haxorus is on the way down. So Haxorus, we look at it and we go, well, hang on a second, $40 for just an illustration rare, that's quite a lot. Is that right? I mean, the answer is right now it is. And it's a big drop down from Seismitoad. But also, I mean, Haxorus isn't that great playability-wise. And I know it's like a pseudo-legendary, but is it really that popular? I'm not sure it is. But at least it's on the way down, right? Well, number 3's Crocodile at like 36, and actually, that one's gone up. And this is the weirdest thing about Black Bolt and White Flare to me. I'm able to look at some of these and go like, wow, the Seismitoad at Shinji Kanda, fine. But Crocodile? In at number 3, rising up since, well, it went down on release and then started rising up. Like, I like Crocodile personally because I'm a sucker for ground-type Pokemon. Is your average person getting really excited about Crocodile? Maybe, but it seems weird. Like, the number 4 in Black Bolt is at least electric. It's at $28. It's coming, well, I mean, it's going up since release, but it's a fair bit lower than the top 2. And I will say that this at least kind of makes sense. Because you look at this and you go, well, hang on a second. This is the one that accelerates lightning energy. This is like a super playable Pokemon. Okay, fine. It kind of makes sense. And the number 5's Volcarona. And again, like, Volcarona's a bit of a special Pokemon, but is it really that high? Should it be this high? And the answer is, I have no idea, but I don't really get it like that. And, the top 5, they're all, like, about 25 or higher. Fine, Volcarona's a tiny bit lower, but we're in that ballpark still. how does this compare to other recent sets? Like, let's compare this to Surging Sparks, for instance. The number one is Latios at $25, and remember that makes a pair with Latias, which kind of puts its value up. And then the number two is Ceruledge at like $15. I don't know, people like Ceruledge, the art's kind of awesome, fine. And then the number three is like Mesprit at $8. And then this is kind of a standard set, right? Surging Sparks is about right for these illustration rares. We generally take one or two a set and go, okay, let's put this way higher than it should be. And at least with the Latios, like I say, that there's a reason for it. It kind of makes sense. But the top five all being about Latios or above, with one at 220? No. Oh, well, maybe. Maybe it's just Black Bolt. Maybe White Flare is a lot more reasonable. And look, I will say White Flare doesn't have anything on the level of a Seismitoad. Like, the number one card in the set, in terms of illustration rares, is Samurott, which is just over a $50 card. And we look at that and we go, okay. You know what? Fine, I get that. That makes sense. But then you also look at it, and that's jumped up since release. Started off with a $27 card. It's now a $53 card. Now, I will say I got the Victini illustration collection this weekend. Went to the Dice Cup in Nottingham. Great shop. Always wanted to go since it opened. Never had the chance. Went this weekend. No, this is not a sponsored video. It's just a great shop that I would heartily recommend. And they don't scalp, and it's run by people who genuinely love the game. It's got everything going for it. So look, this card's spiking up. I've got this card fine. I don't care, but still, this is, it's just, I mean, I know it's a first partner Pokemon, right? But it's still just Samurott. Like, I'm sure someone out there, maybe somebody watching, if it's you, put a comment down below, looks at this and goes, Samurott's my favorite Pokemon? But really? Now, the number two card in the set is Oshawott. It's Okacheke artwork. You know I love Okacheke. I've made no secret of that. This one spiked up high on release, up to like 60. It dropped down to 40, but it is creeping up again. And here's the thing, right? I keep looking at this. I keep looking at all of these cards, and there's two things that are jumping out. Firstly, the raw numbers. The fact that the numbers should not be this high. But also the fact that we're like a few weeks out from release here. We're like, I don't know, what, 3 weeks out from release? Bit more? And a lot of these are still going up. Number 3 card in White Flare, Zoroark, my favourite card playability-wise from the set. It's $45, and the ridiculous pre-sale was $40. It dropped down nicely to like just above 30, but now it's gone up higher than the pre-sale price. Not only are these cards way too high, they're also climbing. Now, they're not all climbing. There are some going down. I've already shown you, one that's probably going down. But generally speaking, these cards, a lot of them are going up, which is not the profile we would expect at this point. Now, Zoroark at least has the playability factor going on. It is a very playable card. And it is Zoroark, who is an incredibly popular Pokemon, but, I mean, look at number 4 in White Flare. It's Zorua, up at $28, and again, look at the graph. Now, don't be deceived, the entire y-axis here is $8, so please bear that in mind. It's not jumped up by like 40 or anything like that. But that is still a significant jump from release. And here it's just basically everyone going, well, we like the evolution line. Zorua and Zoroark are both very cool. If we're pushing Zoroark up, we might as well push Zorua up as well. And then the number 5 card in the set is Emboar, and oh look, this one's going up again. Now, ignore the $2 pre-sale. That doesn't really make any sense. Imagine this started as a $20 card, which it did, and it's now gone up to $27. Well, that's still a pretty significant jump. That's a 35% jump in the space of a couple of weeks. And the Emboar's cool, don't get me wrong, right? It's got the same ability the old one did. whereby it lets you accelerate as much fire energy as you like during your turn. So there is a playability thing going on here. It is a potentially playable card. And it is, again, a first-partner Pokemon, and people like first-partner Pokemon, so that always kind of jumps it up a little bit. But you might notice at this stage, I'm basically going through and saying some of them don't make sense, and some of them I'm justifying with a bunch of different reasons, but all of them are too high. Again, in Surging Sparks, the number one was a Latios, which is like $25. All 5 from White Flare and all 5 from Black Bolt are above that. And I think part of the reason might be there's just too many of them. The problem with having 139 illustration rares in the set is that even when you pull one, you've got a 1 in 139 chance of actually pulling the specific one you want. Okay, that's not terribly fair, because if there's a particular one you want, you'll buy Black Bolt or White Flare. So let's call it a 1 in 70 chance. That's a 1.4% chance of pulling the one you want, assuming you've bought the right Black Bolt or White Flare. That's very low odds, ladies and gentlemen. Very low odds indeed. So look, there's something weird going on here, and it is they're all too expensive, and a bunch of them are climbing. And actually, there is an answer, and the answer is very simple. There are a lot of illustration rares, which makes each individual one rarer. That is pushing up the price of all of them. Now, when I say pushing up the price of all of them, we can still look at things like Haxorus and go, well, hang on a second. Really? Haxorus and Crocodile? Are they really the ones we would expect to be jumping up? And we can look at them and go, well, maybe some of these are a little bit weird. But overall, the trend is clear. These are going a bit silly. And the one thing I will tell you, the one thing I think which should give us all a little bit of hope, they are going to keep printing Black Bolt and White Flare. Pokemon have seen how popular this set is. And I can't speak for Pokemon. I don't work for Pokemon. I cannot stress that enough. But I think it's fair to assume this set is going to be coming around for a while. And that means that as more printings come, we are going to see the price of a bunch of these illustration rares drop, and that is going to make things a little bit easier at some point. For now, I want to know what you think about all of this. I want to know which ones you pulled. I want to know which ones you're after. I want to know anything you want to tell me. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Good us! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. And get shout-outs on the channel like the lovely Dojo, who's been a supporter of ours for a long time now and seems to be a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.